fantastic, oh yeah, all of that kind of nonsense.
I hope that you're not mimicking me because that's not how I do.
I never said it was. I'm just mimicking Hollywood, like
LT.
Love Actually, and your your films that you like to do.
For His glory, for the story, they don't stop us.
Another thing we've learned in the last 5 years is the misconceptions we were sold in movies and stuff. Movies, the misconception. And I'll go first on this one. So actually, because you pointed it out, so when we did the ceremony on our wedding day 5 years ago, we did with, the person was like, oh yeah, I pronounce you man and wife, and our pastor at the time, we pronounce you man and wife, and then we signed the documents in for it, and Todd was like, is this it? Because the reason is because obviously movies gives you all of the doves and the flowers and everything that happens and the choir singing and all of this, and we didn't get any of that. So
I know, but I think what was is that the day was going so fast. I kind of felt like the ceremony would have been longer, because for weddings I've been to, they're long. So I thought, not in a rude way, but do you know what the funny thing is? As much as I do like, a good party and everything like that, I thoroughly enjoy wedding ceremonies because especially when it's more when it's people that and you're like, oh, you see
seeing the journey,
you see people. Yeah, exactly, see the journey. But I really enjoy wedding ceremonies because they're actually nice. Not even nice. Nice is not even the word. It's the time of seeing people come together, and in a Christian context, and being blessed, and all the singing and even the words, if they keep it to a certain, just keep it a bit short, Pastor, because it is a wedding. We do want to get on and have some jollof rice later. But no, I'm joking. But real talk, I do enjoy weddings. So I thought for us, our thing was going to be nice. It was. Yeah,
it was nice.
It was nice. But when we got, I thought the vows, because I always had in my mind that the vows were going to be a long part, because there's 2 sets of times that you have to say certain things.
I haven't said that. I know it was like a misconception because we expected the birds and all of that stuff and the pop-pops and the little cherubs and cherubims and cherubims.
Cherubim.
Anyway, all the little angels and whatnot. But having said that, I was very teary when I was saying the vows. So obviously it made some kind of impact.
I mean, I'm not going to bring that.
We're trying to be vulnerable here, isn't it?
It's true. Yeah. That's what I said. I'm not going to say anything because...
Yeah, because you take that as gold and you... Thank you. I appreciate that. See, we're learning. But my point being is that, not to say that it was pointless or irrelevant, I was, tearing up. I had to take a deep breath and then continue. Insert clip here. No, I'm not inserting that clip here. Take you, Azizat. To be my wife and to have to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do us part, according to God's holy law. I just thought it would be funny today. But my point is that even though it was like that, it actually was a case of
it was emotional.
It was very emotional.
Like, wow, we're actually coming together to be.
So maybe that's what Hollywood is trying to portray.
That's true.
Maybe it's that emotion.
That's the way. Yeah. But then I don't know. I mean, it's not a huge misconception, but it did. It did kind of be like it did. Wow, what am I saying? Woo, child. It's not a huge misconception, like so much like it's life or detrimental to life, but it did kind of just feel interesting how it was.
How quick it was.
Yeah, it was very quick.
It was literally quick.
Yeah, it was very quick. But we enjoyed the day, I remember.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I think it was one of the best weddings I've attended. And seriously, I said to my friends, your wedding was amazing. That is the second best or third best or whatever wedding I've been to. Our old wedding is number one.
Number one.
Shout out to everyone who made it possible. You guys, even to
amazing.
this day, we love you. We're not going to say names because we have to call out all the names.
Yeah, it's like,
and I can't remember everybody.
Exactly, that's long blood.
And shout out to all the people that came that were wedding invited. We love you still. God had a plan for you that day. And I hope you encountered him when you ate that free rice.
You're not serious. What was another misconception?
it's still along the lines of romanticizing things, because and it's not that it's not a misconception, because I think you have to. I think the misconception is that every single day is romantic and lovey-dovey, and there's a few times in our marriage where I felt like, wow, Disney really did us dirty.
Give an example, please. I want to hear this.
I mean, like, there's times where I'm just saying there's times when I'm just like, okay, let's, babe, I think I'm more of the, lovely, I'm more of the showing the affection, and, you just feel like Hollywood painted it where you're just always going to be in each other's arms, and, something along the lines of that. And, obviously it depends on who you marry. You might marry people who are just all over each other, or people who are just, So I think what the misconception is that sometimes you have to make an effort, because life gets in the way.
Yeah, it's true. But are you saying the misconception is that that people don't, like Hollywood or whatever, doesn't show enough of the effort that has to go into
it could be
being romantic, or is it just the fact that they've always painted it as being an automatic romantic?
Both.
Okay.
We're just gonna blame it all on both. Seriously. Because you don't, and I get it. Obviously, if you're watching a movie, you don't want to spend half of the movie trying to. But a little bit of realism in that. It does take time, and so, you do get things that can show that. There are, true. There are things, but in general, at the time, I think when I was growing up, and I think I have a very Hollywood romanticized view of love.
No comment.
Not love, and that does, sometimes it's hard. It's funny to admit, because I'm like, you're at your big age. You watch the Cinderella, and you're now Cinderella in your marriage. But the reality is, we were talking about it just before, like we have to think about how we grew up and what we grew up with, and we grew up on a romanticized or Hollywood dab on them.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Yeah.
We grew up with a sort of maybe not accurate view of the struggles that it takes to keep love going. It's not always like that. Obviously, they will have times when you like that. It's not that it's not. Those things are not in the marriage. It's just that when you're going through a hard season, for example, it can be hard to be romantic. When you're going, if you're going through a time where, you've got bills to pay, you've got work to, you're tired from work. The first thing is always not going to be, oh, lovey-dovey. Sometimes you have to relax yourself, or do something else, and then, you find the right time. So those have been the sort of interesting misconceptions.
But having said that, I think what it's caused us to do is to be deliberate in those actions.
Yes.
Because actually, the misconceptions for us was, oh, it's always going to be lovey-dovey. It's not that hard. You come in, you love, you go out to work, oh my gosh, babe, how was the day? Oh, fantastic. Oh, yeah. All of that kind of nonsense.
I hope that you're not mimicking me, because that's not how I do.
I never said it was I'm just mimicking Hollywood. Like Love Actually, and you're loving all your films that you like to say. Have you seen this film? Have you seen that film? I haven't seen.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. As much as I'm saying misconceptions, I still love a good rom-com. I still love.
Trust me.
I love romantic movies, because I'm not
a fan. Really, not a fan of rom-coms.
You can tell who's the romantic.
Oh yeah, gas. You know, I'm romantics. Like, I have to say with African accent, I'm at the S, romantics. That's how deep it is.
Anywho.
But the point is that you have to work every day.
Yeah, you have to work.
You have to work at it in terms of being romantic, in terms of show, and actually ultimately what it is showing love, isn't it?
Yeah.
Being loving,
And that's not always the one way to show love as well.
Yes.
Obviously, if you know about the 5 loves, there's, sometimes
the brackets of the 5 love languages. I don't subscribe to everything. So I don't subscribe to that being the
only. Of course.
It's just the brackets that seem to be. Obviously, there's so much.
How you can sort of fit them in. So yeah, that's a good misconception. Is it?
Yeah. That's not even a misconception. The 5 love languages. Not that I'm challenging the works, boy, because obviously I haven't done the research and reading that as much. But what I'm saying, please though. But all I'm saying is that those are like very, very good headings and good places to start in regards to the love languages, and obviously, you explore, and obviously you're not one thing at one time, it changes. Do you know what I mean? There's times when Tolu, her main love language was physical affection or physical attraction, or what was it? Physical touch. That's what it is. Physical touch, and then it changed. Not changed, but then there was a different season where it became affirmation. So me using words of affirmation. Yeah. And there was another time it was quality time.
Yeah.
Actually that's still one of your biggest ones anyway. To be fair. So it changes with the seasons, but I guess it's just being being careful that we don't restrict ourselves to those brackets.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Yeah.
As we said before, you're ever changing.
Yes.
You know, the seasons that we're in now are different to when we first started marriage. They'll be different in the next 5 years and the next 5 years. So I think adaptability is key.
It's key.
It's
yeah,
key.
that's a good one. Adaptability.
Don't be so rigid, and that can be hard.
Again, going back to what we said before, being flexible.
Yeah, being flexible.
Because actually, marriage is about being flexible and compromises.
Yeah.
Okay, being able to compromise and being flexible, seeing the bigger picture, and think actually, if my actions, and all of that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it's sad because I feel like that's one thing. I mean, I don't like making generalizations, even though I do make them, but just from conversations that we've had from other people, and marriage, you really can't be about yourself in marriage.
100%.
Even if you have identified that you have that tendency, you have to be willing to work on it.
Yeah.
You can't. And it's funny for me because I'm just like, wow, it really is a struggle, but then at the same time, you just have to give yourself over. And obviously, being that we're both Christians, we have that faith.
Yeah.
We have to have those things in mind. We are constantly reminded about that because that's what we subscribe to in our faith, and that's what we believe. We believe in serving each other and putting you before me and me before you. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that we do it all the time. We're not the perfect we're not the perfect example, but at least in our minds, when we're convicted of that, we can at least make those adjustments. If you're not willing to make adjustments in marriage, I'm not saying don't get married, because we're not going to tell you who I'm not telling you who you marry. I'm not going to be responsible for that, but it's things to think about. If I look back at when I was getting married, I would say to myself, be ready to make adjustments. And even then, I probably didn't think I would have thought that I was flexible at that time. But
and it's true, we both did that. I always say this.
Yeah.
I thought I was God's gift to all women. So whoever the woman that married me was lucky. They were privileged. Okay, they had blessing.
Lucky.
Yeah,
of course. Like today.
Oh my days. Yeah, privileged. But having said that, I've then learned, there's a lot about me that isn't very great. That obviously we have to work on, and I like the Bible talks about iron sharpens iron. So literally we're sharpening each other each day and becoming better people over time, which is by God's grace, and actually we're coming more and more alike, and which is a great thing. So,
but it is work. It is work, guys. Don't get it twisted. It's not all
romance.
There's the romantic, but it's also hard work. But at the same time, that this is, when we think about it, I remember one of the first conversations that we had when we weren't together in that very weird. Actually, we weren't. It wasn't that complicated at the time, but I remember we were both talking about how we desired godly marriages, and because we wanted to leave that legacy for the generations to come. We want to do something different than what we have seen, whether it's in families, in friends, in TV or whatever. We wanted to do something different. And I remember thinking, at the time you're bright-eyed, you're bushy-tailed, you're thinking we can change the world, but you don't realise that for you to really change something, you're going to come against it. You're going to come against the obstacles. And it might not even be external. It can be your own internal. Yeah. So if I would go back, I would say to myself that, girl, as much as that's a noble thing and that's a thing that we still are striving for, don't be deceived. It is very hard. But as I said, we believe, we trust God, and we believe that God has led us
to where we are now.
Led us to where we are now. So
journey to 5 years and that.
You must do. Come on,
Sorry.
5. So guys,
5 years, bro.
We hope you have enjoyed our mini series. I mean, there's so much to talk about marriage.
Literally,
if you have
so
questions, then feel free to hit us up. I know this is probably like our first proper video, so we're sorry.
We've been trying to do videos literally for the last 5 years. Yeah. We've actually got edits that we've done, and it's just there.
In our old house,
literally. But we just said, 5 years, let's do something proper. Yeah. And kind of just, and wherever it goes, we bless God in it. So,
of course.
We're easy. We're just going to have fun with it, right?
Yeah. So guys, if you've got any questions for us, please feel free to hit us in the comments or DMs. We'll be happy to speak to you if you're thinking about getting married. If you want to have a chat with us, we're cool about that. We're open to also, we do a little plug. Shout out to Belief in Fatherhood for the wear that we're wearing. We're not wearing our own stuff, but we're wearing somebody else's, but that's okay. So shout out to Belief in Fatherhood. him and his wife are doing great stuff
Yeah.
and talking about marriage on the How Married Are You podcast, which we listen to quite often. So feel free to check that out because they're really awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Cool.
All glory to God.
Yeah.
Peace.